Hey, what's up, Team Happy and Fit? Eric and Julianne here. We are so excited to have you guys on the call this evening. We have TJ Kulig, Julianne's brother, on the call tonight. He's going to be sharing some best practices around social media. So you guys are definitely want to have a pen and a notebook ready um, to take some notes and to just absorb all the knowledge that he has to share um, with that. So without further ado, TJ, I know that when it comes to social media, this is the biggest. I feel like this is the biggest call that you do for our team. So it definitely is. You go a lot more in depth with this call. That's what I told Julianne earlier. So we're just super excited and can't wait to hear everything. So I'll just pass it to you.
All right, great. All right, cool. So thank you guys for having me again. I enjoy this. We do this once a month, so this is very exciting. As Eric said, gearing up for the holidays. This is a perfect time to have this conversation because I think there's going to be a lot of maybe tips that you can use as you lead into the holidays to kind of help you maybe get some sales and grow a little bit of your business here. So it's great to see you guys, and it's great to see everybody else. So let me go ahead and let's share this dish. If you were a desktop, where would you be? There you are. Okay, so you guys can see my screen, correct? Nod? Okay, cool. Thank you, Julia. All right, guys, so today is Marketing 303. This is the final part that we do for our series on social media. So this one focuses on selling. The first one was understanding the different channels that we, that are available to us to diversify your portfolio, to not just focus on Facebook or Instagram, but to branch out to LinkedIn, YouTube, WhatsApp, Snapchat, even, and some of those things. So that was good there. The second version that we did of that was growing your audience. Tips and helpful practices to get more people to engage with your profile and to keep going from there. So, all right, let's get this going. Make sure I'm on the screen. There we go. Okay, so a little bit about me. I've been doing marketing for about 20 years, and just this year went full-time into my nonprofit. It's Kulig Charities. It's a nonprofit that helps other nonprofits. Simply put, we guide heroes. So it's a lot of this marketing, a lot of this stuff, but focusing on nonprofits. So if you know anybody out there that wants to do anything like that, send them my way. All right, so enough about me. Okay, so today we're going to talk about our external audience, our internal audience, and understanding the difference between those two. A little bit about product placement, maybe some ideas on how to sell through some of the things that you guys currently do. And then most importantly, measuring the success. So we wrap it up with a conclusion and overview, and then if anybody has questions, I'm happy to answer them, okay? All right, so your external audience, right? This is building your network. So the best way to put it is, I'm gonna use pictures today for this part. So this is you, right? You're busy. This is your profile. This might be your Facebook. This might be your Instagram, your LinkedIn, anything like that. First and foremost, we need to understand what our internal audience is, right? So these are the people that already follow you. These might be your family, your friends, coworkers, things of that nature. That's important to know. But for this section, we're going to talk about growing that audience, right? And how do you grow that audience? It's your external audience. It's the people outside of this. So some ideas here, it might be fitness enthusiasts. It might be busy moms, young professionals, people that are looking to supplement income, earn extra income, or maybe they're just like-minded individuals just like you, right? So these are people that are, that you would be reaching out to, you're trying to get them to follow you. You're trying to get them to, join the team, if you will. So, it starts here. You can only tap into your well so much. So understanding what your internal audience is going to help identify what your external audience is. So I hope that makes a little bit of sense. Okay. So what we want to do is, here's some tips on how to engage with an external audience to get them to follow with you, right? So it might be shares, right? So every time you post something on your own profile, or you post a photo on Instagram, or you do an article or a blog post on LinkedIn, the number one is when your current internal audience sees that and then they share it, right? So you might get people that you've never met before, never seen or engaged with before, that are going to see your content and might want to join and come into your internal audience. Okay. Another one might be commenting, right? So when you go comment on somebody else's post, they're going to see who you are. That's reaching your external audience. You're reaching people that are outside of your internal network, and trying to get them to introduce who you are. Liking photos and posts, that's 101. You get out there, you engage. Maybe you do a little bit of blogs and podcasts. That helps drive traffic back to your profile as well, right? And last is advertising. You see those on Instagram, boost a post, maybe on Facebook, boost a post, those type of things. So these are all different types of ways to get people that are outside of your network to come into your internal network, right? You want to grow the people that are following you. And you got to start outside of that. So, we're not going to spend too much time today talking about that. That's more of growing your followers. But those are just helpful tips to remember. When we're talking about selling, you're not going to necessarily sell to these people. You want them to join along first before you start pitching them on ideas. You're not going to just find some random person on the side of the street and say, hey, join my business. You're going to make a ton of money. This is going to be so happy. You're going to do so great. This is going to be fantastic. This is amazing. Just do it. Just do it. Just do it. It doesn't work like that, right? When you meet these people, you want them to, hey, come check this out. Come see what this is, and join my internal network, if you will, my internal audience. Okay. So that's a little bit about the external audience. What we're really going to talk about today, though, is maximizing your network, your internal audience. These are the people that follow you. So now that we got people to follow us, this is really what we're going to talk about today, right? So that's your internal audience. Now you grow it. You got some people in there that's really good. Okay. So, what you want to do is, this is a little bit more of an advanced technique, but you want to solve a problem. Okay. So, it might be well-being and happiness. It might be time-saving solutions. It might be, growing your income. Those are all types of solving a problem that somebody might have that you are already doing, okay? You want to share your journey and your success. You want to show the people that follow you, what your progress is like and what you're doing, what you're up to and how it's working. You want to share a little bit about you, get to know you, get to, your sparkling personality, the things that make, your friends and family, they follow you. Why? Because they already love you. They know you. So these new people that are coming into this and that are coming into your network, you want to, reintroduce yourself every now and then, give everybody a little bit of an update of what's going on and how you're doing and how things are, in a very personal way. Right. All right. So this last one is don't focus on the sidelines. Okay, so what this means is you're going to have two types of followers, right? You're going to have, 2/3 of your followers are just going to kind of sit there. They're going to watch. They're not going to engage. They might not even see your stories. They might just see your post once every now and then. We don't really want to waste time when we're talking about selling, going after those people on the sidelines. We want to talk about the people that are engaging, that they're commenting on your photos, that are commenting on your posts, that are sharing your stuff, that kind of type of engagement. So when you're talking about your internal audience, right, you want to engage with them and you want to focus on the ones that are the most active, if you will. All right. Okay. So product placement. Okay. So this one sounds like a no-brainer, and it kind of is, right? So we're building our business. So I chose some examples here. So just, bear with me. But embedded marketing, right? So this is something that this is a post here where this young lady, she's just standing, it's a typical Instagram photo. Hey, I'm blah, 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 doing my thing, right? But in there, she mentions, here's my clothing, here's a little bit of this, so when you're, on your adventures and you're going out and you're thinking of content and, we're not talking about, here's something that you need to sell, things like this. It's just casually putting it in there. It's just casually, Beachbody and stuff, they have clothing, they have spandex, they have, different articles of items. Those are great things that if you have them, to just either casually mention them or just feature them in there. You're going to get people that are saying, oh my gosh, I love that top. Where did you get it? Man, those are some really cool shoes. Where did you get that? Man, that's a really cool cup. That's what we talk about, the embedded marketing. Okay. You want to incorporate it into your daily life. Okay. So, if you're waking up in the morning and you cook an awesome breakfast and you use, a shake because it's easy to go on the go, right? And you're taking a photo and you're on your way to work and it's just an easy, here's a day in the life. This is what it's like. It's 5 o'clock in the morning. I got the kids up. I'm grinding. I'm doing this. It's a great way to showcase, the things that you do on a daily basis, right? You want to show the benefits and the examples of the results. Now, Kylie Jenner might not be the best example per se. However, I don't know if you guys read about her selling her makeup company last week and how big of a deal that is. She got about $2 per follower that she has. A lot of that, the reason why that value of that makeup brand sold for so high is because her internal audience, the people that follow her, that's who she's selling to. She's not, she runs some ads and she does some things on that side, but she shows the benefits and she shows the examples of those. So makeup, health, those kind of type of things, it's showing the benefits and the examples of the results, okay? And this last one, I want you to say it with me. I would not do this, or I would do this without you following me, right? Like, whether somebody's going to follow you or not shouldn't determine, how you do your posts and you do your things and what you're trying to communicate, right? You're going to be you. You're going to be genuine, and you're going to just keep going about your daily life and your daily grind, and not worry about trying to sell to everybody and trying to get them to, sign up and do this. You're just going to keep grinding and keep doing your thing. Okay. All right. So the measuring the success of this. Okay. So this is understanding the customer and coach journey. So this one's going to be a little bit different for everybody, but I'm going to use, a common, path that goes with this. Okay. So you create your content, you make your post, right? Step one, that's what you do. Okay. Now you engage with your internal audience. So we talked about, not focusing on the sidelines. This is where, the people that are commenting on your photo, they like them. You're noticing that you're getting some people that are liking it on a regular basis, that they're engaging with you and your brand. This is a perfect time to start a conversation. This is a perfect time to say, hey, do you have an email address? I'd like to talk to you a little bit further about this if you're interested in this, or just have a conversation of, how you're doing, how are things going? I want to get to know the people that, follow me in this, and it's just, and no worries, and if they say no, or they don't respond back or anything like that, that's all part of the process. But, that's the next step. But you want to focus on those ones that you notice that are engaging with your brand and, kind of taking that next step. Okay. You're going to follow up with them, and then you're going to follow up with them again. And then you might have to follow up with them again. But the idea is that you're going to create a dialogue with them. You're going to create something that is natural, right? Again, when we're using that analogy of if you're walking down the street and you see a stranger, you're not going to just shout at them and say, hey, you have to do this. Now, that happens. You might get 1 out of every 100 or so that actually, sign up first sight unseen, like, hey, let's do this. There's nothing wrong with that. But a lot of times it takes a little bit of coaxing. It takes a little bit of, again, having a conversation and following up with them, and going from there. Okay, so then you want to maybe get them to take an action, right? So for this example is maybe fill out a form. Let me get to know a little bit more about yourself, or what you're interested in, or maybe what challenges you struggle with. Just tell me a little bit more about yourself. I don't need 4 paragraphs or something. Here's a great form that kind of helps me understand a little bit more about you. That's a great way to do it. And guess what? You're going to follow up, and you're going to follow up again, and you're going to follow up again, right? So you can kind of see the path that when you get to a conversion, you're going through all these steps just to get them to get interested, and just to get them to have a conversation, and just to get them to give a little bit more information about you, and just so that you can have that conversation and hopefully convert them to sign up and become a customer or become a coach, right? Those are two different things. When you're building success and you're building your business, it doesn't just happen with that one or two, conversations, whatever. It usually takes a lot of steps. Now, a quote that I want to end this with in this part of this is 90% of selling is your conviction and 10% of selling is persuasion, right? When we look at this model here to the left and it says, you create your content, you're engaging with your internal audience, you're starting a conversation, you got to follow up, you got to follow up, you got to follow up. Now you want to get them to take an action, you got to follow up, and you got to follow them up. That's conviction, right? When we're talking about doing the product placement in your daily life and what, just living the brand, right? You're showing your success, you're telling your journey. That's all conviction. It's not about out there saying, hey, buy one, get one. Hey, you're going to, make so much bank if you do this, all these kind of things. Those are the results, and those are great benefits of it. But that's not what it's going to make them, get through this. What's going to make them get through this is knowing that you're happy and you're doing this and you're loving this. And when you're selling this on social media, it's really going to come through when you're genuine like that. So, man, I really blew through this one really quick, guys. But that's, when you want to measure the success here, I'll stop on this one for a second. All right. When you measure your success, it's, when you're making the post and you're creating the content, that's a success, right? You might not get a ton of engagement. You might not get a ton of, those next steps, but that's still a success. And that's still something that you should be proud of as you measuring the success. Okay, hey, I'm getting that done. Okay, engaging with your internal audience. If you're really following up with these people and you're getting these comments and you're getting these things going, that's a big step to, here we go, to, understanding, what the success is. And when you get to start a conversation, you might not get that conversion at the end of it, but it's all these steps along the way. This is how you would measure your success and how you would know that, you're going along the way. So, so to quickly recap everything that we were doing, sorry. Okay. Yeah. So, understanding your external audience is really helpful, right? It's okay to communicate to them. It's okay to try to sell to the world and try to get it out there and say, hey, join this. Join me in my journey. You can start your own journey. You can do these things. I'm probably using the wrong lingo over here. But that's a part of it, but really focusing on your internal audience, getting those people to just get them on the sideline, just get them there, let them watch, let them see, let these things, let it happen organically. That's going to be really helpful. Now that you're focusing on your internal audience, product placement. Don't hit them over the head with, you have to buy this, you have to do this, you have to sign up, do these things, do this stuff. Just put it out there, share it. Hey, I'm doing a challenge pack, or I'm doing a 100-day challenge, or I'm doing a holiday challenge with the Thanksgiving holidays coming up. If you want to join for the holidays and lose some of this weight, or, get through winter and, stay happy and healthy. These are things to do, but then you move on, right? You get back on to doing your other stuff. And then, as you focus on your internal audience, you're going to work on, measuring that success. You're going to make sure that, you work through that journey of, following up with them, getting them to take the next step, being patient with it, understanding that, yeah, I see the chats going for some of this. And I bet when I say the word follow up, everybody has a story for it. Everybody has somebody that ghosts them. It's part of the trade. And when you're selling online and you're selling through social media, you're not really selling a widget. You're not selling a one-off, item. You're not selling pens or pencils or anything like that. You're really selling a commitment. You're selling for them to invest in themselves. It's not an easy just, hey, just sign me up and I'm just going to get into this and it's easy. If it was easy, everybody would be doing this. So those are some helpful tips. As you head into the holiday season, keep these things in mind, and and I wish you guys happy selling. It's pretty straightforward. I didn't mean to make it so simple sounding, but it really is. Okay, so the next session that we do this is going to be December 17th. Join us for that call. It's going to be nice. It's right there before Christmas and all that. And we're going to be talking about the analytics, a little bit more to that journey of, understanding, those measuring that success, some of those conversions. I had a talk with Kim this week, actually, where, I'm on her about, hey, she's running some ads and she's doing some really cool stuff over there. And, and I'm, okay, how many impressions? Okay, how many reaches? How many clicks? How many this? Like, those are all these things that I'm talking about with analytics, right? How many people, saw your blog post? Julianne, how many people are listening to your podcast? How many times are this page visit? Those are all the things that we're going to talk about when it comes to selling and measuring those conversions. So hopefully you guys can join next month as we do this again. And any questions and answers would be kind of fun here. So let's see what we got. We got, multiple conversations, takes people to join you as friends. You're absolutely right, Morgan. Hey, Eric, sorry to pass this back to you so quick. What do you think?
No, it's all good. TJ, thank you so much just for always sharing these best practices. And I think it's always good for us to hear these things over and over again, like what you're saying with like engage with your community and follow up. I think those are the biggest things that we talk about a lot as coaches in our coaching business. We just thank you again for everything.
Yeah, it's really simple. It's really just, you keep doing your thing. Everybody keep, don't try to, be something that you're not. Don't try to, if you see posts out there of other people doing stuff, it's great to take tips and stuff from that, but just keep doing your thing and grow your audience. And the more genuine you are, the more people that are going to follow, and the more that people that follow you, those are the people that you're going to want to follow up with. And the people that engage with you, they're going to have questions. They're going to want to know things. And that's the art of selling through social media. It's not some magic bullet. So,
okay, thanks, guys? Bro. You're awesome. Everyone else stay on. Thank you.
All right. Love you guys.
Bye. Love you. So simple. Something you can duplicate with your teams. And going back to them, I just think about like, oh my gosh, this is 100% how I've built my business, is interacting with the people who've interacted with my posts, right? So something that really stuck out to me were 4 things that I could totally see we having across Happy and Fit or wherever your home base is these 4 things is what problem do you solve in your life? Like, what problem are you solving? And so when he said like solve a problem for people, right now I'm solving a problem for postpartum. That's the problem that I'm solving for people who feel uncomfortable in their skin, or they're not feeling themselves, or they're just trying to figure out, whatever. I think that BOD solves a problem for a lot of people, but that's very generic. What problem are you solving right now? Is it how to be fit through pregnancy? I'm looking at Morgan and looking at Keely, right? Maybe it's you're solving a problem with if you do need extra cash for Christmas. Like, you're solving this problem so you don't have to live on a tight budget, right? What problem are you solving? And then that's a story that you share on social media. And it's not even like, hey, I'm here to solve your problems. It's not even so much like that. It's just sharing your story. So I do that constantly of sharing. I had a problem of feeling burnt out. I had a problem of feeling exhausted. I had a problem of skipping breakfast. I had a problem of just whatever, and not knowing what to do at the gym. And that's just tailored to my own story. So that's just my question to you is, what problem are you solving for someone? And what's cool is that you're not just talking about Beachbody, right? Because Beachbody helps with that problem, but your problem is what connects you to your audience. So you wouldn't just be like, Beachbody's going to solve all your problems. That's not quite it. It's what I couch to coach, right? My problem was that I was exhausted after each school day. And so then I would go on the couch and watch a show. And so that is the problem that I was able to solve. Another problem was I was feeling burnt out on my job, right? And I was able to solve that with building a business. Number 2 was share your journey and share your success. Don't play small in this. It's really easy to dim your light. It's really easy because you're going to look at yourself as bragging. But seriously though, when was the last time someone's worked out for 21 straight days on your social media? How many people in your life and in your circle are planning on working out during the holidays? Like, talk about this stuff. This is going to be my 6th holiday season that I will be living fit. Right? And so just share that, share your success with that, share how proud you are about that. And just sharing your journey. and your journey to showing up, your journey to staying committed. What did my brother just say? He said, you guys are selling commitment. And I would say that's 100% true. Like on our team and on this journey that we are part of something, we celebrate consistency on our tribe. That is so badass when you really think about it, that we celebrate consistency. Consistency and healthy behaviors. People celebrate consistency on how many nights they can drink, right? Like we celebrate consistency that like, right? Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we had that on lock in college. Like we were ready to get like lit, okay? We just celebrate all those kinds of things. And then sharing the success of other people on our team. So maybe you're not where you want to be financially, but I can tell you this, $100 would change someone's life. It really would. And so don't dim what your success has been in this, because you don't have to give the actual number. You can just do the feeling of empowerment, of knowing you're going somewhere. I know Eric's going to give us some pretty cool examples later, but it could even just be like, I'm celebrating the fact that I don't press snooze anymore. I'm celebrating the fact that I've stayed fit during pregnancy. I'm celebrating the fact that when life was really hard, I showed up. Like I'm looking at some of you in complete awe of what you've done in your journey and your lifestyle. Brittany Burmeister finished the 100 workouts and she's like, man, it was kind of a battle. I'm like, yeah, but how many people have done 100 workouts? Not a lot. Like even if it wasn't what you thought it would be, or if it was mentally hard, a lot of people give up on workouts because they're not fun and boring. I don't know about you all, but I'm like, okay, MM100, I'm ready for you to be done now. And I have 20 more workouts to go, but I'm more proud of the fact that I'm committed when it's not so like fun all the time. I'm just committed to getting it done, because when it's done and I look back, I'm like, man, I'm a warrior and I can get through something, because a lot of people just want to do the easy thing, and that's not what we do. Number 3 is, how do people get to know you? How many of you have ever done the like, here are 10 things about me? That's a good post that you could do for that. Fun fact, right? I just did one unintentionally. I don't know if you guys saw it, but it was about my learning. And all of my mom was talking to one of her friends, sharing about my journey of education and school and how that was difficult for me. That's allowing people to get to know me without saying, hey, do you relate to any of these failures? But here, I'll show you. Here we go. This one right here, if you have time to go read it. But I'm just sharing, I got held back a grade and I was always a year older than everybody. Do you know how embarrassing that was as a kid? Like, why are you older? And you have to explain, right? I received extra help outside of school. I had extreme test anxiety. Switching papers to be graded by my peers was the worst thing a teacher could have ever done for someone like me. That's why I never did that in my class when I taught. My 7th grade teacher made fun of me in front of my peers. We celebrated C's at my house, like because D's and F's were just so common. I was the player on the bench because of ineligibility. I got caught cheating on a vocabulary test by my freshman English teacher. Thankfully, he took me out to the hallway and didn't embarrass me in front of everyone, and I never cheated again because I was so embarrassed, so I just kept failing. I got a college rejection letter my senior year of high school. Even better, rejected by the university my mom works at, and that the school my brother went to. I could have gone there for free. A college professor told me that I didn't know how to write papers and that I should get help, and I failed so many of my teaching credential tests. Because like I said, I have teaching or test anxiety. And my mom was like, it's pretty amazing, Julianne, what you've done. Despite all of that, your whole childhood, like what you're doing and what you've done and how you've created and paid success for yourself. That's a way for someone to get to know me without saying, hey, do you check these boxes off the list? And that's just showing a different side of my story of like, maybe someone like me shouldn't be doing what I'm doing, but I just proved all the odds that I could. Like that's a vulnerable piece of my story, that education in a traditional sense was really hard for me. And then here I am, like I just did all this stuff, right? So it just shows that anyone can do it. And that's kind of my my point to that. So how can people get to know you? What are the things that you like to do? How do you like spending your time? What struggles have you overcome? What were you most nervous about in your journey? What is a typical life day like for you? And just being able to share that with people. And then number 4 is don't focus on the sidelines. And what we mean by that is the people who are constantly ghosting you can keep following up. I asked an interesting question one day, and I was like flabbergasted for a second. And I said, hey, question, how many invites do you think you've done to get to where you are right now? So say you're coach or you're emerald. How many invites do you think that you've done? Someone said 1,000. And I was like, oh shit, like I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting it to be like 100 people that got you to there. And then I said, how many of those are follow-ups? The number went more than half down because people are following up with the same people who are ghosting them, and they're calling that an invite. So yes, it's important to follow up, but if you're not starting to comment back, so the people who comment and like your post, a best practice that I have is I reach out to them. Hey, thanks. This is how I build my business. It wasn't like sending one invite out and then everyone's like, yeah, I'm going to sign up with you because you're awesome. Are you kidding me? I wish. No. It was them liking one of my posts after watching me for 5 years. And then I say, hey, thank you so much for liking my post. I really appreciate it. Have you ever considered doing what I'm doing? Or, hey, thanks so much for showing me so much love on my post. I was nervous to post that, right? Like, have you ever considered joining alongside me? And just putting it out there and interacting with the people who are already interacting with you, the people who are watching your stories and sending them that message. Caitlin Green was just talking about this. On anyone who comments or watches her stories, she sends a message and she says, hey, thanks for watching my stories. And I said, Caitlin, have you even considered about the kind of invite on your stories? Do you know how you guys can invite on any story? Think about it. So if it's your workout story, why don't you invite people to work out with you? If it's a Zoom call, why don't you invite them to the team? Like, make the invite specific to the story that they're watching. And not just like, hey, thanks for watching my stories, but maybe it's specific to like, if you made a post about coaching, hey, thanks for watching my coaching post. I would love for you to check this out. Let me tell you more about this, and start inviting differently based on the story that they're doing. So I really like those 4 tips. Typically when I hear a call, 1, I take notes. 2, I try to be as present as I can. And then 3, I always think about, how can I teach this? How can I teach this? And then how can I do this? I take one thing. So the one thing I'm going to take from this call, which was so good, is solving a problem for people, doing those 4 steps, really thinking about that. Those 4 steps are golden. Those 4 steps, if you really take action into them, could change your business. And so those are the 4 steps that I'm taking: to solve a problem, share your journey and success, which I already do. But I think I'm like, okay, what other areas? So we have 6 roles, right? I hope coaching is on your role, on one of your top 6, right? I don't like to rank them. I don't think that they have to be ranked, but am I sharing success in all my roles or just one? Are you sharing success with just fitness? Where can you show success as a mom? Where can you show success as a wife? Where can you show success as a nurse, right? And not just fitness. And then on the flip side, how can people get to know you in your different roles? Not just your coaching role, not just your fitness role, but what about your faith role? What about your wife role, right? What about your mom role? What about your nurse role? What about your teacher role? How can you share more about your life and not just fitness and nutrition? And that's how people can get to know you better. What are your biggest fears in life? Mine are bees. If you know that my biggest fear in life are bees, you would know that. Like that, you just know. If you're around me and a bee is near, oh, Jesus, be near. Like, it is so scary to me. You guys know I don't wear matching socks. Legitimately, one of my friends the other day, Emily, I had matching socks on. This is what she said. She goes, Julianne, and she points to my socks. I look down, she looks up, she's like, were those a gift? And I'm like, yes. And she's like, okay, I was worried for a second. But it was awesome that she like gave herself a time to think. She's like, this is just bizarre of what this is, right? You guys know, I just like go back in my stories. I just brought the OG of The Greatest Showman out and started singing to my favorite songs. I bet people are like, where's she been? Right? She back? She's here. She's ready. You guys know that Eric and I love to go on adventures. Everyone who knows me and my stories call Wyatt Y. They call him by his nickname. I'm like, that's awesome. That's when you know you've connected with your audience and the people who've been following you. So those are my tips that I have from that, of the call, of recapping, that I thought was really good, because you guys, these calls, this journey, the simplest thing in the world. It is so freaking simple. Some of you are on this call and you might have been too good for it or not good for it. I don't know, but that's how simple this journey is. If you never get too good for this, like I look at this and I'm like, dang, this journey is so simple. This business is so simple. It's not complicated, and we overcomplicate it, right? Never be too good for that. It is simple. Wash, rinse, repeat, the simplicity, you'll change your business. If you can just do that and be like, man, I need to really reflect. Am I just talking about fitness? TJ, well played, sir. So simple. This is so simple. He's been in marketing for 20 years, and everything he just said is something that we've preached. Like, that's how simple this journey is. That's how simple this business is. You just have to be willing to do the invite. And I think that's the scariest part for people, because why? They're afraid of rejection and they're afraid of embarrassment. Sarah Blakely said, I looked at embarrassment in the face and just went through it anyway. And she said, now I'm no longer afraid of embarrassment. And I also think, man, one day I was talking to my friend Nikki Kerrigan today, and we were talking about income. I said, hey, Nikki, is recognition better, or I don't know, paying for your son's future honeymoon better? Like, which one are you going to go with? Because Eric's parents gave us a gift of a honeymoon for 2 weeks in the Mediterranean. We went to Turkey, Greece, and Italy. I'll never forget that. It was one of the best trips I've ever been on in my life. And that is not something my parents probably could have done. And they just gifted us this trip. And now I'm like, wow, do I want Faye to have that experience? So yeah, I'm going to hit enter. And yes, I'm going to invite, because I'm inviting to a gift and something that will change someone's life. That vision has got to be way bigger than your fear. The power of doubt in your life is taking over, or the voices of others that aren't championing you are even louder. I say give yourself more credit. I say bet on yourself. And I say when you start to do it and you start to realize, man, this was the missing link. If she can do it, I can do it. She's only proof that I can instead of defeat. That's when the game changes. Okay, I'm done. Eric is so stoked, and I just went on for 10 minutes. Like I said, I was like, give me 10 minutes. He's like, do you want to speak tonight? I was like, no, I'm good. You've got it. And then like during the call, I was like, can I like have 10 of your minutes? Okay, so I'm going to hit mute.
Oh my goodness. That was insanely good. And what kind of like I can segue into that, segue it into what I was going to talk about, is that like this business is definitely a gift that you can change someone's life with, and that you can solve a problem with too as well. So I'm going to share my screen real quick and share the slides that I prepared.
You're fancy.
I know. I wanted to be fancy tonight. I did not want to actually share that. I want to hit present. Here we go. So,
okay, you see?
To preface this little lesson, I guess you could call it a lesson, but like tips, like business best practices, I guess. To preface this, I wanted to tell a quick little story. So, back when we were in Philly, Julianne and I, we were just walking down the street, and we were heading back to our Airbnb from I don't know, one of the nights that we were there, and we saw a homeless man sitting outside, and we decided to take that opportunity to go into Target to actually buy something for him and help him. And I think for myself personally, it was really easy to get into the giving mode, because someone had just given to us. Someone had just bought our dinner. So it's like, it's easy to get into the giving mode when someone gives back to gives to someone else, right? And then fast forward till now, or like, I think it was like 2 days ago. But Chandra, she's on the call right now. She posted a very powerful post in the Coach Collab. And if you're a newer coach and you haven't gotten in there yet, definitely talk to your sponsor, whoever brought you, and get into that, because there's definitely a lot of good things that happen in there and things that can build your business better. So with that, I wanted to share her post, because I asked her today. I was like, I gotta share this. This is awesome. But this is Chandra and her daughter, and I'm just gonna go ahead and read her post that she posted in the group. So it says, took my earnings this week from my coaching paycheck and paid it forward by gifting 3 children this holiday season. I have always wanted to do this, and my daughter asks every year. This year, of all years, has been one of the most challenging financially, being in school and working less hours. But it was on my heart to make it happen this year. I know these 3 boxes will brighten some child's day. It sure has our hearts, has ours. Thanks. Our hearts, thanks to this amazing community and opportunity. I have found myself again and want more than anything to help others, not only in fitness and nutrition, but in life in general. I see more boxes being added next year, touching more children's hearts in the years to come because of this journey. With that, I thank you, friends. Can we just like shower her with so much appreciation and love right now? Because that's awesome. Like, this is awesome. This is something that I believe is a good life best practice, and also a good business best practice, and what she's sharing. And even like the point that was so powerful in there was like, even though it's financially hard, she's still giving back. She's still taking the time to get these 3 boxes out there to someone who needs it more. So thank you, Chandra, for letting me share this, because I think this can lead into some best practices around why this is a good idea, especially in this season, where people's minds are more on giving and less on receiving. So here's the 3 reasons you guys can take in and apply to your business, your life, especially coming into this next season. So number 1, it says boost self-esteem and team morale. You guys, her smile and her daughter's smile are insanely huge right now. Who does not want to like go share boxes with them? So like, this is like just develops so much more contagious joy within yourself and your community. So like, let's say you have your team with you, and you're like, hey, I think it would be a good idea that we should donate here from like next week's paycheck or whatever. And I guarantee you it's going to boost self-esteem on your team, but also deepen the why on your team. It's like the phrase, you reap what you sow. I like it. I like that phrase, but I also think it's like you reap what you sow and not what you sacrificed. So to put this in the context, I was listening to this message by this pastor, and he was talking about sowing and how sometimes we put it as sacrificing. We say like, oh, I had to sacrifice this much, but in the end, everything you do is sowing a seed. So it feels good to sow a seed, and you're going to get that reciprocation back in some way or another. So like I have on this first point, it's okay to feel good about yourself for doing something good for someone else. So it's okay to sow those seeds, regardless if it does, or if someone asks you like, what are you doing? Or even internally, I ask myself or try to humble myself. Sorry if that's not making sense. And then secondly, it helps you feel more connected to your business and to your community. And then number 2, like I mentioned before, it builds a stronger reputation with your community. So like, people that you have on social media, and like if you share it on social media, or if you are just out in the community, people are going to know you for, or you're going to build up that reputation for doing good things and giving back, excuse me, and caring about others. So again, super powerful. And then lastly, the third point is people prefer working with other socially responsible people. So the bullet point I have is helping others in need should be reason enough for people to take on various causes to improve the social good in your community. I think this last point is pretty powerful, because I think about my own relationships, and I don't know how your relationships are, but like the strongest ones, I see them giving back to people in need. I know Julianne is very much a giving person, and I love when she's like, "Hey, we should go cook a meal for this person," because it reminds me like, "Hey, I need to take time out of my day to go do something more for them," and not look for any sense of validation, but like just to act to be good enough. So with that, again, these are just 3 simple reasons you guys can take with you. Hopefully Chandra's post inspired you in some way. I know it inspired me, because I was like heading to next month's budget. I'm like, okay, we're going to budget this much money to give out, and there's probably even be more than that. It just like it feels so insanely good to give, and then it builds a stronger sense of community and morale within your team, and within a sense of like self-worth and self-joy. So with that, you can ask yourself this question: how will you invest in your community this season? I'll exit out of this. So maybe you can answer that in the chat, and we can kind of share it. Let me hit stop share real quick. Here we go. How will you invest in your community this coming season? Nice, Danielle. Planning to give back to veterans who are deployed this holiday season. See, and I think about this too, is like, you guys have, or you all have so many different areas that of your life where you're plugged into a different community that I'm not plugged into. So like, I have a group of guys that I go play basketball with on Saturday mornings that I can definitely invest time into, and I can invest like some meal or something like that. You all have different areas. My husband and I went through all of our kids' toys and gave 5 boxes of nice toys to the crisis center. Yeah. Oh my goodness, Marjorie. My kids and I are going to a family sharing event this weekend. Yeah, there's so many things that this business and this lifestyle has to offer us, and it deepens our why. This season is definitely able to deepen our why. Sorry, I don't want to go off on a tangent here, but I was in my men's group this week, and we were talking about some of you guys are on farms, so you get this. Like, you have to go out and actually prune fruit trees, or you have to prune I guess just I don't know if it's just fruit trees or if it's like vegetables or not, but like, Kim, you're like shaking your head. Yeah, maybe. But just trees. Okay, so you prune just trees. So basically, the principle is like, you have to go out and prune these trees in the winter so they produce fruit in the spring. So like, this season where like you feel like it's kind of slowing down, especially with everyone, and like people are giving back, and you can go and prune, yeah, rose bushes, there you go. You can go and prune those different relationships. Like, take a step back and really invest time into them. Yeah. so with that, that was my last point. That was really an empowering post, Chandra. So I just wanted to share that, and I really wanted to just encourage you guys. And then yeah, so I'm gonna hit end record on Julianne's computer, and then I'll take a picture.